Hello everyone, welcome back to this new video. Today we are going to talk about how you can implement dynamic brains into your AI agent workflows in N8N and how this can dramatically decrease your costs. I'm going to show you step by step how you can set up those AI agents and how you can easily just copy paste them into other workflows when you use AI agents. So let's jump into it. Alright, so this is the workflow we are going to work with today. What this workflow can do is it can take financial data, which we are storing in Supabase. So here's the tables that we have in Supabase. It's just mock data of a toy store and their sales data in 2024 and in 2025. And basically what we can do is we can just like in a RAG model, retrieve that data and actually do some analysis on it. But a RAG model is always limited on just text data. In this case, we're actually creating SQL queries so that we can pass through the data and do analysis. If you want to know how this works and how to implement it, just check out the video that I've already made on this channel. It's in the description, it's also in the playlist, and it's also in the info card. So just check it out if you want to build those types of financial agents. So let's do a small test run so that you can see what this can actually do. So we are just going to ask, what's my best selling year 2024 and 2025? So now it's going to pass through the data and it's giving us a response and it's going to let us know our best selling year is 2025, where we sold 3,091 units. It doesn't give us revenue because we didn't specifically ask for it. So what is new in this model is that we actually have a dynamic brain. And what this dynamic brain agent does is it actually gives the SQL generator the model to use when creating the SQL. So you can see here that it outputted OpenAI 4.1 Mini. And this is going to be used in this OpenRouter road. So that means that this AI agent is basically choosing which model to be used depending on the complexity. And obviously, if you have a less complex task, then it doesn't need to choose a really API credit heavy model, but it can actually choose a model such as 4.1 Mini that is really, really easy and can solve tasks very well, but isn't as API heavy. All right, so let's build this and then you will see how this all works. So I already copy pasted the workflow that we have in the other video. Again, the workflow is in the description. Also, the entire workflow is also in the description if you want to download it and play around with it. But what we first need is a chat node. So I'm just going to grab this chat node, turn it, bring it down here, and then we are adding an AI agent. All right, so this AI agent is going to be the dynamic brain. And what we are giving it is now a brain, which is OpenRouter. So OpenRouter is fantastic because instead of just relying on ChatGPT models or on Claude models, this actually has access to all the models and you only need one certification or credential in order to access all of those models at the same time. So let's set up one. All right, so here's a new credential. What we need is the API credit. And to get that, just go to openrouter.ai. Just log in with your Google and then you hover over this section and then you can just press keys. And once you're on keys, you can just create a new API key. Let's call it test and just create one. And here we go. Just copy this one, paste it in here and call it OpenRouter test or whatever you want to call it. Once we have that saved, now we have access to all of these models and we can only choose it in here. Yeah, but what if we want to have a dynamic choice of which model is going to be used depending on the query? Well, this is what we're setting up now. So 4.1 Mini is perfectly fine in order to do this. So we set the AI agent, now we set up 4.1 Mini. And what we are going to do now is we have to write the system prompt. So for the system prompt, I actually prepared something already, which I'm now going to copy paste in here. And let's go over the system prompt so you understand it. So the overview, you are an AI agent responsible for selecting the most suitable large language model to generate SQL queries from natural language input. Choose only one model from the list below based strictly on each model's strength. All right, instructions. So analyze the user's request and then make sure to analyze to use the best model for the SQL task. Your response is only the model name, really important. We don't need any explanation, no formatting, no extra text. Okay, so here they explain the available models, which is OpenAI GPT-4 Mini, Claude, and OpenAI. And then we give it and then also the description on when to use which one. So 4.1 Mini is going to be used for simple SQL tasks. This one is, so Claude 4.0 is for more moderate tasks. And for really advanced tasks, we are using 01. Make sure that the model names are exactly how they are listed in the OpenRouter model name here. It must exactly be the same name, otherwise it won't work. All right, so now we have set up everything. What we're going to do now is just run some type of test query, because we need to get the data from the dynamic brain over to this AI agent. So just ask it some type of question. What's my best-selling year 2024? I forgot to connect it. Let's do it again. All right, here we go. So what we did now is we just brought over this information. As you can see, based on the question, it shows the 4.1 mini model. And what we are doing now is we go to the OpenRouter, and now we have to set up the model. Instead of fixed, where you can just choose the model, we are going to do the expression. We're going to delete this out, and then we have to go to the mapping. And then we go to the dynamic brain and just take the output and put it back in here. And that's already it. So now we can ask any type of question. Let's just choose this one again, and let's see if it actually chooses 4.1 mini in the OpenRouter. All right, so if we go on here, then we can see that it used this model, 4.1 mini, and we also got an answer. Okay, let's take a really complex answer or complex question and query. Do a really thorough analysis of which product was the best product in 2024 and how that related from a percentage difference on revenue in the best product of 2025. All right, so this one is a little bit more difficult to solve. So let's see which model it's going to choose. It shows 01. So here we go. So now obviously, since we chose the 01 model, it's going to take a longer time for the SQL generator to actually generate the SQL, because it is a reasoning model, so it's going to take a lot more time, but it can solve more complex tasks. So this is a nice way of how you can set up dynamic brains, how you can set up dynamic models. Also, sometimes you might still be running into the Postgres errors, where it just doesn't want to execute the SQL because there's an issue in the SQL. If you want to see how you can fix that, then just go to my last video and I'm explaining everything on how you can fix those. So it's a lot of testing whenever you publish those or when you create those N8N workflows. Not always is going to work right from the start. You have to fix a lot of things and do especially a lot of testing. Most importantly, if you do anything for clients, just make sure that you do a lot of testing. All right, so this is the entire video. Let me know if you have any questions, just write it into the comments. Subscribe and like if you want more content like this, and I'm looking forward to the next video. Bye-bye.